Good morning. Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Hope you're all fit and well. I'm going to go straight over to this one. I've not seen him in the chat as yet, but happy birthday, Mr. Kenneth Hatcher. Good morning, Gary, and good morning, Ken. Happy birthday, my friend. I'll save the confetti until he actually arrives. What we got here? Steve Williamson says, morning all, rain and thunderstorms today. It is swelteringly hot today where I am. Dan Kant says, another day of porridge with vanilla. Well, okay, so this weekend, somewhat eventful, I have to say. Not necessarily in a good way. My eldest son, Ollie, was away on, he's been in Greece for the past week or so. So on Friday night, myself, my good lady wife, Ruth, youngest daughter, Courtney, and Fred decided, let's go out for an Indian meal. So there's an Indian restaurant, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes walk away from us. So we strolled on down there. When it was quite busy, quite loud, quite warm in there. And yes, I was sat there eating my chicken tikka biryani, which is my ruby of choice. Started to get really hot. I mean, really hot. So I said to Ruth, I'm going to have to get out. I need to get some fresh air. So I went outside. There's a bench outside. Sat there. And I thought, oh, that's a bit cooler. Oh, no, it's not. Next thing I knew, I was flat on my back on the floor, passed out. And there was a guy, a complete stranger, standing over me saying, are you all right, pal? No, not really. I don't know what's going on. So, yes. So as a result of that, there is a reason for me telling you this. My wife has decided that I need to go back on the blood sugar diet. So should you notice me losing weight, it's deliberate. I did this before, and we did actually have a few people phone and send emails. Are you okay? You look really gaunt. There will be some weight loss. Be ready. Let's have a look. Steve Williamson says, first million views on a video yesterday. It's well past the million mark now, but it's a goal ticked. Fantastic. Feels fantastic, doesn't it? Just think about that for a second. 1 million people. 1 million people. That's more people than you will ever see in a single place. It's absolutely astonishing. So congratulations, Steve. Well done on that. Good morning to Alex Latham, who is here, and the birthday boy is here. Good morning, Mr. Hatcher, and a very many happy returns to you. This is for you. There we are. Have I got some applause that can go with it? I'm not entirely sure this is all working at the moment. There we go. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? I'd be interested to know. I can't hear it through my headphones for some reason, but apparently, yeah, there we are. Let me get rid of that because I can't work with that going on all day. Where does that live? Oh, it's over here. There we are. I'm going to say, Thomas Bush, good morning. Can't be having a man down from blood sugar. Thank you, Thomas. No, we can't. My wife now is on a mission, which means I'm going to suffer enormously. But yeah, that's where we are, I'm afraid. There you are. Happy birthday, Mr. Hatcher. Good. Let's have a look. Gary Muirhead. Yes, you're not lucky with curries. The last one almost killed you, thinking you'd eaten a dodgy Tesco curry. It turns out it wasn't. My appendix had burst, but being all manly and stuff, I soldiered on. Steve Williamson also says, have you checked the Bomag merchandise shop? Wow, up there with Bobcat. Is it? I'm going to have to go and take a look at that. I have to say, this hat is very hot this morning. I may need to switch or do something else. Don't know why. So yes, that was my weekend. Happy birthday to Ken Hatcher. One more thing before we get started. There is a new article out this morning. It's called Age is More Than a Number. And you can read it. I've already put the link in the chat. There you are. You can find it over there. And Dan Cullen, yes, at least you stayed with us. Yeah, well, listen, I was laying there at death's door on Friday night. I mean, I'd already passed out, but I was laying there thinking, I could just step off this mortal coil. But what would Dan and Gary and Ken and Chris and Steve do Jim do on a Monday morning? So I recovered. That's how much I think of you. Lighting and GPS. Wonder what happens here. By Christ, there's some rumbles. That was lightning, I guess, and GPS. Wonder what happens here. Yeah, let us know. I'd be interested to know exactly how GPS copes in a lightning storm. But enough of that. Let's get on with the show, shall we? Without further ado, I'm going to roll the intro, and we're going to be right back with, intro to the show, Mystery Machine, Excavator World Cup, all the usual stuff. See you in a sec. Yeah, had to switch to the summer weight hat. I realise it's old and dull and worn out, but I would I don't want to pass out again. I think if Fred was to stand into for the show, it would be an audio only show. You'd be lucky to get that much, to be perfectly honest. Dan can't see. Dan can't says, "Oh my God, we'll be totally lost." I'd have to start up a show. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Just don't do it 10 o'clock. That's all I ask. Good morning, all. Downpours and thunder here in Wakefield. It is glorious here in leafy Surrey. Don't know how long it's going to last, but it's lovely here. All of that aside, it is Monday, the 12th of August. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the Walrus of Demolition. In today's show, Dieci goes dual fuel with its latest rotating telehandler. Carrying buckets, the JCB way. We've got massive mine fleet management from Wenco, and it's Wenco, W-E-N-C-O. When you hear an Australian say it, it doesn't sound like that. It'll become clear. And we're about to show you the biggest telehandler you've probably ever seen. Plus, in the news discussion portion of the show, I'm going to be looking at the subject of praise. Praise within the demolition and construction industry, and explaining why I believe that carrot might be better than stick. But before we get to all of that, there is the small matter of today's mystery machine to get through. So, right back after this. Yeah, despite the fact that he's very rarely on camera, you guys obviously know Fred very well. Gary's already reckoned it could be an audio-only show, and that's from Steve. If Fred took over for a day, there would be a lot of videos played. All his own, probably. Chris Ford with the weather update from Derby. Sunny in Derby, bit of a shower first thing. My T-shirt soaking already, too bloody hot to be in a hole all morning. It's warm in here. And do you know what is really strange? I've got a couple of monitors, both of which run cool. I've got a light that runs cool. There's nothing here giving off heat. But man alive, it's warm in here this morning. So forgive me if I perspire quietly. Yes, Mystery Machine. We've done the Mystery Machine. Now I need to show it to you. Here we go. That's what you're working with. Now, I'll tell you in advance, that is a black and white photograph. But is it a black and white photograph because it's an old machine? Or is it a black and white photograph because I'm trying to throw you off? I'll leave you to decide. And Steve Williamson says, you've changed caps. I had to. The Bobcat one was too hot. It's a winter hat. That I've gone for the summery one. To be perfectly honest, even this is warm, but yeah. So there you are. There's your mystery machine. Let me bring you up to date very quickly with the league table. We've got Gary Muirhead is on 3 points. Dan Cullen is on 6. I'm on 6. And Chris Ford is on 6 as well. So getting tight at the top. About time last month's champion actually made an entrance, but we shall see. Jim Turner reckons it's a Terex dumper. It is not a Terex dumper, I can tell you that much. And while you're figuring that out, it is time to remind you that we're doing our Excavator World Cup as well. So here we go. Yeah, interesting one today. Could go either way. This normally when I go into these Excavator World Cups, I've got a funny feeling I know how it's going to go. I've been surprised a few times. I've got a funny feeling I know how it's going to go. This time, not so much, because today we are pitting Sunward against Terex. Yeah. So the usual rules apply. Imagine you've got £100,000 of imaginary money. You are looking to buy a machine or several machines, and you can only choose from Sunward or Terex. So are you going Sunward or are you going Terex? All I need you to do is type either Sunward or Terex into the chat. The manufacturer, obviously with the most votes, will be going forward to the next round, while the manufacturer with the least will be going home empty-handed. Let us know in the chat. Love to hear from you. Sunward or Terex? Let's have a look. Chris Ford says, upgraded the phone on Saturday. Still no better for seeing the mystery machine. I hope you didn't upgrade it especially for this. I really do. Timothy Tippett has just arrived. Good morning, Timothy Tippett, over on Facebook. Good of you to join us, and he is voting for Terex, as is Gary Muirhead. Speaking of Gary Muirhead, he reckons, let me take that away, and I'll put the mystery machine back up. He reckons that our mystery machine could be a Euclid R35. It is not. It is not a Euclid at all. Not an R35, not any kind of Euclid at all. So keep the guesses coming in. Tourette's. That's just made my this is fantastic. You know, predictive text tries to guess what you're saying. Ken Hatcher was trying to type Terex, and his phone, I guess, decided no, Tourette's. Brilliant. But he's got his voting anyway. Jim Turner, reckon you need to invest in a magnifying glass, yeah, or those really thick glasses you can get. Nobody's on the right track yet with the mystery machine show. Let me show you a little bit more. I mean, I think you've already nailed down exactly what type of machine it is. Just need to get a make and a model. And I can tell you, Chris Ford, Bellaz dump truck, it's not. It's not. I think we've done the 75 710 in the past, haven't we? World's biggest dump truck. And Thomas Bush, take this to the road, walk with the missus. That's on the, yeah, this is getting my blood sugar under control. That's next on the line. It's got to be done, I'm afraid. So prepare to see me withering away in the very near future. No good guesses, no right guesses yet. Terex R17. No, it's not a Terex R17. It's not a Terex at all. Would I ever do a mystery machine and the Excavator World Cup using the same companies? I don't think I'd ever do that, but I might. Jim Turner reckons it could be enabling Barford. It's not. Dan reckons a Euclid R60. It is not. And Dan is now having issues with his coverage. I will soldier on, Dan, and hope that you can see at least some of what we're about to do, because it is time to crack on. So let's have a bit of this. Okay. So Steve is going for Terex because it's the only one of the two that he's driven. We're going back to the Excavator World Cup, and going back to the mystery machine. Chris Ford going for Maggie Deutz. Maggie Deutz. Yes, I remember Maggie Deutz very well indeed. Gary's going for the cat. 455. It's not. I tell you what, let me take Gary off the screen and I'll show you just a little bit more. There you are. As I say, I think you've already figured out what type of machine it is, but what we need is a make and a model. I'll leave you to figure that out for just a little bit longer, because I'm about to play you something from the fine folks at Dieci, Italian telehandler manufacturer, who have gone dual energy. Nice looking machine. We're going to come back to this at the end of the show, if you don't mind, Mick, but we're talking carrot and stick. That's the end of the show taken care of. But going back to Chris Ford reckons our mystery machine, which looks like that, could have been a Magirus Deutz. It's not, but Mick Norton has just said, great dump trucks back in the day. Yes, they most certainly were. And we've had another vote for Terex. Terex running away with our World Cup of excavators today. Not a single vote as yet for Sunward. I was expecting it to go. I was expecting to be close. I wouldn't have been at all surprised if Terex had come out on top, but not a single vote for Sunward. They've got some good machines, people. But as Steve said, if you haven't got around to driving one, you've got no point of reference, I guess. So we'll keep that coming along. So let me go back to the mystery machine. There you are. There's a bit more because, aren't wheels distinctive? Not really. No, they're not. I've just shown you a telehandler with our last film of the day. I think it's our last film is going to be another telehandler of almost biblical proportions. An absolute monster of a machine. So I hope you can stick around for that. Also got a slightly questionable soundtrack. It's not my choice. It was their choice. I quite like it. You might not. We shall see. But I'll be right back after this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
I'm going to say good morning to Earl Fallon, who's just joined us over on Instagram. But Mr. Turner has just suggested that our mystery machine might just be a Wabco. Yeah, it might. Need a model number, though. That's what we're looking at. So everybody, if you've got Wabco knowledge, I'm sure you can start typing now. If not, I guess you need to hop over onto Google and find some Wabco model numbers. Tristan Mays over on Instagram. Terex all day long. I once drove a someone. It was like riding a bar of soap in the bath. See, you're saying that like it's a bad thing. Who doesn't enjoy? I'll leave it there. Mick Norton's Terex for me, after time in the seat with a 8231B dozer, 7251 shovel loader. Are they still trading out of Midlothian? I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody actually followed the history of Terex, but they seem to do this thing of acquisition, selling off. I honestly don't know where we are today. Don't have a great deal to do with them for one reason or another. Don't know. Gary Muirhead is sticking with Komatsu. It is not a Komatsu. And Dan Cullen is going for a Mack dump truck. Paul Latham, father of Alex, has just joined us. Morning, Paul. Good of you to join us over from Instagram world. Not Instagram, LinkedIn world. So that is our mystery machine. I can tell you it is most definitely, as Jim Turner recommended or suggested, it is most definitely a Wabco. I just need a model number to go with that now, if you would be so kind. If anybody knows their Wabco history, please let us know. While you're messing about with that, I'm going to go to the next video, which is from the mighty JCB. Ever wondered how to carry backhoe loader buckets? You're probably already doing it. Here's the advice.
Hi, my name's Georgina Williams and I work on the backhoe loader product team at JCB. One of the functions of a 6-in-1 shovel on a JCB backhoe loader is grabbing. The grabbing function can be used to grab and carry a full set of buckets around site when working on your backhoe loader. Today, we're going to show you one of the methods that can be used to do just this.
Start by lining up the buckets alongside each other. Put the narrower buckets in the middle to help hold them upright. Open the clamshell fully and lower the shovel level to the ground. Drive towards the buckets until the bottom cutting edge of the shovel touches the back of the buckets. Begin to close the clam whilst crowding back the shovel and driving forwards at the same time. Sometimes a little shake of the shovel helps the buckets to fall into position. Let's see that again. It may be useful to practice with just one 3-foot digging bucket to begin with, to get more familiar with the motion required. Then you can slowly introduce more.
Thank you for watching. Check out our playlist for more videos.
Top work, Georgina, as always. Terex for me, says Mick Norton. I know we've already mentioned this, but are they still trading out of Midlothian? Good question. Gary Muirhead, straight to the chat, says yes. Terex are still made in Newhouse, just outside of Glasgow. So our mystery machine, we already know it's a Wabco, so we've got lots of guesses on the Wabco. Dan is going for the 120B. It is not. The 170. It is not. Is it the Wabco 150? Nope. Is it the Wabco 50B, says Chris Ford? It's not. 35C? Nope. 35C? Nope. It's none of those. It's, I think, a bit bigger than that. There's a bit more. It's quite the beast. Mick Norton is asking, does the Terex 360 have a GM diesel engine? I have no idea. If I get a chance to check while I'm doing all the other bits, I will let you know. Let's have a look. Steve Williamson says, a lot of drivers still struggle to grab the buckets. Yeah, it was one of those things. When I saw it, I mean, I've never done it, never needed to. I would have thought that was, operating 1.0. That's almost first principles. But the very fact that JCB have decided to actually put that out makes you wonder if they're seeing something that isn't that. And I can tell you we have a winner. I think this is Gary going for an XCMG CMT 106. It's not. And I can tell you, well, it's an interesting thing. So I'm not going to split the points. So the first one that came through was from Dan Cullen, who reckons it was the Wabco 3200. It is. Dan Cullen, Steve Williamson, rather, almost exactly the same time, said the Wacko. I realise it's a misspelling, 3200, but I can assure you that Mr. Cullen was there first, just to prove exactly what the machine is. There we are. That's what the Wabco 3200 looks like. Yeah. Pretty low profile, isn't it? But no, that's a win for Dan the man. So he's just gone to the top of the table. He's on 9 points. There's two of us. Chris Ford and myself are on 6. Gary Muirhead is on 3. And everybody else, 0. Mick Norton, JCB bucket storage. Let me get rid of that in the background. Although the multi-purpose bucket is the preferred option for bucket storage, I wouldn't recommend it for road travel without some additional load restraint. There you are. You have it from the horse's mouth. Jim Turner, I'm going to save this till the end, but I'm going to reference it very quickly. Carrot and stick, it's all down to man management. We're all different. Some folk will graft for promotion, then take promotion without a wage increase. As I say, we'll come back to that because it is a thing that I'd like to talk about a bit later. Be a great turning circle on that thing. I bet it wouldn't. You'd be turning that for a fortnight, I would have thought. Right, okay, we need to crack on. What have we got next? Yes, I mentioned at the outset, we're talking mine fleet management next. And I mentioned the fact that the company you're about to see is called Wenco. 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 When you hear the Australian say it, well, just let's put it like this. He says it slightly differently.
I'm Grant Cloughton. I'm the General Manager of Muswellbrook Coal Mine. We've had the Wenco system in play now for about 12 months in full operation. Muswellbrook Coal is only a small coal mining operation in the Hunter Valley, New South Wales. The Wenco system here on the mine site is used in multiple pieces of equipment. We have a fleet of Hitachi excavators and Hitachi haul trucks, but we also do have a fleet of Cat dozers. And also light vehicles we use the Wenco system in as well. So we cross a whole range of equipment types and equipment brands. It's quite easily and installable in all of those pieces of equipment and readily usable. We were very paper-based operation, very manual, but we felt that there was improvement still to be had. But given the short time frame, we still felt it was important that we made improvements, and the Wenco system offered a very cost-effective solution for us to get some real-time data that we could analyse and improve our productivity performance of the mine.
My name is Jake Hill. I'm the Senior Engineer at Muswellbrook Coal. We use Wenco for everything, so primarily data capture, but the real value comes from high precision dozing, digging, drilling, fleet management as well. So allocating resources effectively, highlighting hazards in work areas and rectifying those hazards. By using the Wenco system, what we've been able to do is really focus in on the payloads for each truck, and we've seen an increase in average payload of about 5 tonne per payload. So before we were underloading trucks and the converse overloading trucks, which was causing us problems, but now we're much closer to our target payload.
So we've developed effectively a zone of which the operators should target, and the operators themselves are now starting to come out back into that zone quite readily, and we notice the curves on our payloads and our haul cycles is very much tighter, and that's all due to the data we've got out of the Wenco system.
In one part of our mine we have a very long haul run, and the problem we normally see there is a lack of trucks, so the digger will be waiting on trucks. In another area of the mine we have the converse situation where tight work areas mean that the trucks are often waiting because it's slow to load the trucks, and now rather than waiting on a supervisor to go and see that firsthand or the digger operators to report on that, then we actually have Wenco to tell us that now. So as a result of using Wenco, we now have a better distribution of trucks around the mine and less weight on trucks, and trucks waiting less on loading units. Prior to using Wenco, it was all a paper system, and that data would come in after the shift, and it would tie up an engineer's time for maybe 3-4 hours just getting all that data together. Now it's instantaneous, so we've got a free engineer and we've got the data much faster.
So for us, the Wenco system provides a level of safety on top of the production outcomes that we get. Given that safety is imperative to the ongoing performance of the mine site, the combination of the system being able to use it for a safety and a production perspective is a benefit that the Wenco system had over many other systems.
We have survey of all of the tunnels that have been mined out during the past, and we know their approximate locations, so what we do is put them into the Wenco system, and it allows the equipment operators to navigate around those hazards.
The benefits of the Wenco system we found when compared to other systems that we evaluated on a cost per cost basis, the Wenco system was very competitive, cheap to install, and actually very user friendly. So that's the reason why we went to the Wenco system in such a small operation. The other benefits of the Wenco system is that it is not a taxing system on the mine. It's very self-run. We don't need to set up dispatch hubs. There is enough information to ensure that we get the right processes in place to give us the information we need to make good decisions. Whereas other systems that are more cumbersome, they take a lot of upkeep, or there's other systems that are really just truck counting systems, electronic truck counting systems. We wanted something in between, and we found that the Wenco system gave us that in-between solution. We can certainly ramp the Wenco system up to be more than what it is, or we can just get it to where we believe we're going to get the most value out of it. Unlike other systems that you've got to take the whole package, the Wenco system is broken up into specific areas where you can actually focus and only pick and choose really what is important to yourselves. After a period of 3 months, then the Wenco system was trialled and proven to be successful, and it was accepted by the operators. We removed all our paper-based systems of production data capture. But what we've seen so far since the end of 2018 is our payloads have generally increased by 3 to 5 tonnes per truck, and very consistent. And the other thing we've noticed too is our haul cycles have decreased. There's a clear focus on site around queuing time and spotting time under diggers. So compared to the data we captured in 2018, we've already seen a 10% improvement in 2019 on those key metrics. So for us, that equates to a couple of $1 million a year of saving for an investment that was a fraction of that price. The Wenco system, because it was able to be built up or built down and provide exactly what we need, it proved to be the right solution for Muswellbrook Coal, and it seems to be delivering a good outcome.
I will reiterate, he was saying Wenco. Steve says the Americans and Australians always have quality videos on explaining things. They certainly do. Gary Muirhead, what's he saying? Is it like the Aussie saying, what is it, Dick Insider? Dick Insider, yeah, absolutely. Jim Turner, are these Aussies taking the piss? Funny as hell, or words to that effect. I always wondered how many mines there are in Australia. a lot. And some of them are really quite big. Going back to our Wabco, the mystery machine for today, was that the first electric haul truck? I don't know. While you were watching that, I tried to find out. Couldn't find a damn thing. Jim Turner reckons it could have been Latorno. Were probably the first pioneers of diesel electric plant. Wouldn't surprise me if they were the first to produce a diesel electric haul truck, but Wabco might have been the most popular. I'm now wondering if the Terex Titan was diesel electric. If so, that would have been one of the biggest of its time. Indeed it would. Going back to Steve Williamson, if you invest in tech, it's great to hear why they use it and the benefits they have from it. A lot of people see the cost and think, wow, that's a lot, but don't have the mindset to see the future savings. Yeah. Which is slightly odd, because when you look at, particularly in the extractive industry, so mining and quarry, companies like Caterpillar, Komatsu, Liebherr have got very, very good at explaining cost of ownership, rather than this is how much it will cost you to own this dump truck. This is the cost of ownership, and we can work out a package. This is how much it will cost you to own it, operate it, maintain it, repair it, and so on down the line. So we're quite used to, as an industry, as I say, particularly in the extractive industries, quite used to the idea of factoring in, this is what it will cost per month, per year, whatever it might be, but these are the benefits. And yet when it comes to technology, we don't seem to do that quite the same way. Don't know why. Going back to Ken Hatcher, birthday boy, says, grab a bucket on an older cat like that and the lugs will go through the rear of the front bucket. I had to put them in by hand for 30 years, basically. Did my back a few times doing it. Grabbing is a fantastic way with GCB. Yeah, absolutely. And who wants to be moving buckets by hand? Certainly not me. Chris Ford said, once bounced the buckets out of a JCB on a rough level crossing. Squeaky bum time. It's one of my worst nightmares. There's a level crossing, a controlled level crossing between here where I live and where my daughter lives. And even now, and I must have driven over that over the years, I don't know, 1,000 times. Even now, I know the barriers are reliable. I realize that there's a manned office there. I realize how electronics work. But every time I drive onto that level crossing, I have to look both ways just to be absolutely sure. Mick Norton says, I love how the Aussies adopt a common sense approach to site problems that the UK consistently struggles with. Dan Cullen says, my YouTube stopped and was slow. Luckily, had a backup plan. Good to hear it. I heard of a few JCB stopped on the road for not being strapped in. It's the law now. And on the same subject, or a related subject, where is it? I know Dan said something about that earlier. Where is it? Yes, on the road now on 180s, you must strap in the front buckets or you can get points. If not, I know of a few 180 operators that have been stopped on the road by police and given a warning. Be careful out there, people. You don't want that. So, yes, we're going to crack on. What have we got next? I know what we've got next. It's a machine I think you'll be impressed by because it's absolutely bloody massive. The music? I'll leave you to decide. Right back after this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Anybody else watching this show from outside the industry would probably consider what Jim Turner has just said gobbledygook. But I think we all know what he means. I'd rather have the buckets in a closed clam when tramping a backhoe loader. With smooth ride, it's easy. It's too easy to drop down a digging. Makes sense. Sounds like nonsense. Makes sense. Right. Okay. I've already keyed this one up. We're going with Magni next. Italian telehandler manufacturer. This is their biggest rotating telehandler, and believe me, it is really is quite big. We'll come back to that in just a moment because we've had some comments on it, but I do want to go back to, there was a question earlier, I think it was from Dan Cullen, asking if the Wabco was the first electric haul truck. Steve Williamson has done some digging. Hitachi made the first large rigid electric dump truck, he says. It was first job was carting copper and gold in Zambia. Now we know. Going back to the menu that we've just seen, Mick Norton says, I think it's time all the rotary 360 telescopic handlers are retitled under the specialist crane category. Their capabilities go far beyond the forklift mode. They certainly do. They certainly do. I mean, that is basically a crane for all intents and purposes, isn't it? Just going back to the Hitachi Electric, it was the first battery truck, not the electric line ones. No, indeed. Steve also says the menu looks like a Manitou. Not surprised. Telehandler, red. Why wouldn't it? They look a beast, says Dan Cullen. 26 out now. I'm not sure what that's about. That's a big one, that. Some set of outriggers, it most certainly is. We do need to round out our World Cup of Excavators. That was what we had. We had Sunward taking on Terex, and I need to do this for the clip, so bear with me for 1 second. So the latest round of our Excavator World Cup competition pitted Sunward against Terex. But which brand came out on top? Well, we put it to the public vote, and I can tell you that the winner is Terex. Terex goes forward to the second round, while sadly, Sunward leaves empty-handed. Terex goes forward to the second round, while Sunward leaves empty-handed. Tomorrow's match will see XCMG take on Hymax, so make sure you tune in and take part. Just a very quick one on that. Bearing in mind, we've seen Sunward leave. Who else have we seen leave? Because they're not the first of the Chinese to leave us. Let's have a look. Shantway have gone. Zoomline have gone. Sunward have now gone. And then tomorrow we've got Hymac. And a lot of people have got a lot of love for Hymac. And they're taking on XCMG. Obviously, XCMG, third biggest manufacturer in the world. Could they go the same way? We shall see. You'll have to tune in to find out. And no pizza date. No, I've not seen Mr. McKenna at all. I hope he's fitting well. That makes more sense now. It is 26 degrees. So hot now. Yeah, it feels even warmer than that where I'm sat, but there you are. So that's all of that taken care of. It's time for the after show bit. And I've already flagged it up. We've already had some comments on it. I'll go to the comments as soon as we've done my bit of it, if you know what I mean. A few days ago, I received an unsolicited message on LinkedIn. Here we go. I thought, what are they selling? Turns out they weren't selling anything. In fact, the message simply said, just thought I'd reach out to say I'm really enjoying your content, having recently started following you. I operate in the heavy equipment space, so it's super relevant to my line of work and has given me some great ideas and topics to cover when speaking with my network. Now, I'm sharing this not to show that I receive fan mail. I mean, I do, but it's a rarity. I'm sharing it because for most of us, praise and encouragement are rare and precious commodities. In fact, in the realm of demolition and construction, discouragement, criticism, abuse, and even bullying are far more likely. Now, before I go any further, let me quickly recount a tale from my own career. I was fortunate enough to work with two magazine editors in quick succession that were about as different as chalk and cheese. The first was like Malcolm Tucker from the thick of it, if Malcolm Tucker had graduated from the Gordon Ramsay Charm School. This editor used to use swear words as punctuation, viewed office items like staplers, hole punches, and ring binders as potential projectiles. He once slammed the door of his office so hard he actually broke a hinge, causing the door to hang loosely and limp, barely attached to the door frame. The second editor, however, was one of life's nice guys. Even when he critiqued or criticised something I'd written, he did so with such warmth that I actually felt good about it. During my time under editor number one, I adhered strictly to the office hours. Come 4:59 in the afternoon, my coat was on and I was already eyeing the exit. Under editor number two, however, nothing was too much trouble. I pulled several all-nighters just to show that I was passionate about our magazine, as he was, and I would have walked over hot coals for the guy. Now, before I go any further, let me reassure you I've not gone snowflake. Shouting, swearing, effing and jeffing have their place. In fact, The effing and the jeffing is an integral part of the industry landscape, and it's one of the things that attracted me to the industry in the first place. But in this supposedly enlightened age, is this really the best way to get the best from the workforce? In the high-stakes world of demolition and construction, where safety, precision, and teamwork are paramount, the way we communicate can significantly impact both morale and productivity. While criticism has its place in correcting mistakes and improving processes, praise is proven to be a far more effective tool in building a positive work environment. Praise is also a powerful motivator. In an industry as demanding as demolition and construction, where physical and mental exhaustion are common, a simple acknowledgement of a job well done can provide a much needed morale boost. When workers receive recognition for their efforts, they feel valued and appreciated. This in turn increases their motivation to continue performing at a high level. Criticism, on the other hand, can have the opposite effect. While constructive feedback is necessary, constant or harsh criticism can lead to decreased morale, resentment, and a drop in productivity. Workers who feel criticised are less likely to take initiative or go the extra mile, fearing their efforts will be met with disapproval rather than recognition. Praise also plays a crucial role in fostering teamwork and collaboration in the workplace. In the demolition and construction sectors where projects require close cooperation among diverse teams, recognising and celebrating each member's contributions can strengthen the bond between workers. When individuals feel their efforts are noticed and valued, they are more likely to support and encourage their colleagues, leading to a more cohesive and effective team. Conversely, criticism can create divisions within a team, creating a toxic work environment. A culture of criticism can lead to a blame game mentality, where workers are more concerned with avoiding fault rather than collaborating to find solutions. Praise is a powerful tool for encouraging continuous improvement. When workers are praised for their achievements, they are more likely to take ownership of their work and strive for excellence. Positive reinforcement encourages individuals to build on their strengths and seek out new ways to contribute to this team's success. The demolition and construction workplace is inherently stressful, with tight deadlines, hazardous conditions, and the physical demands of the job. Adding harsh criticism to the mix can exacerbate stress, leading to burnout and negatively impacting both mental and physical health. Workers who are constantly criticised may experience anxiety, decreased job satisfaction, and a higher likelihood of leaving the job. Praise, on the other hand, can alleviate stress and promote well-being. Acknowledging the hard work and dedication of workers creates a more positive atmosphere where individuals feel supported and respected. This not only enhances job satisfaction, but also reduces staff turnover, leading to a more stable and experienced workforce. And hey, maybe, just maybe, making workers feel more valued, they might just suffer a bit less from the mental health issues that continue to plague the sector. And maybe those same workers might respond better to a little more carrot and a bit less stick. So there's my thoughts on all things carrot and stick, praise and criticism. Right, okay, going to go back to this. Jim Turner was the last to comment. There we are. Got a touch overcast here in Nottingham. Need to get this pond shaped up and tracked in sharpish in case we get a sharp shower. Good luck with that. Dan Cullen says, look after yourself, Mark. Don't be falling over on us. We're completely lost with your great content here. Thank you very much indeed, Dan. I'm looking after myself better than I have in several years. Laterno were among the earliest pioneers in electrically driven wheel stations for earth-moving equipment. Thank you for that. Dan Cullen says, the guy I'm working with wouldn't take on this job as he don't trust many people on technical work on a 360 and willing to get out. So we've already had some comments on all things carrot and stick. There's going back to Mick Norton, says carrot or stick. Social psychologists would have us believe that the old carrot and stick approach does a rather poor job of motivating people. Personally, from my time at Bull events, the bonus of up to 11% a year on your gross salary was a great incentive. I also wonder, obviously, spend quite a bit of time on social media, and you see these major contractors, tier one contractors, giving out awards to their subcontractors. Subcontractor of the month, operator of the month, operative of the month, health and safety idea of the month, health and safety contribution of the month, and all that. And whenever you see those awards being given out, the person receiving them is always beaming. It's like, wow, somebody did notice I was doing a thing. as I say, I don't want to come across as a big old snowflake. I may well be, but I don't want to come across that way. But if you are, I mean, bearing in mind, this job is pretty damn, not my job, my job's a piece of piss, but your job is pretty damn stressful in the first place. If you are constantly getting an earful from those above and around you, and I was thinking about this, and I will come to Jim Turner's comment in just a moment. Many, many moons ago, and I am talking 30 odd years ago, probably a bit more than that, I was sent up to Scotch Corner up in the northeast of England to see, they were basically improving a section of motorway. And I got to talking to one of the guys who had been involved in the design. And he was explaining one of the reasons behind the upgrading and the widening of the motorway at Scotch Corner. They'd done a study. And part of the study was if somebody driving at 70 miles an hour applies their brakes for a second, the person behind them will overreact to that and they will hit their brakes for 2 seconds. The person behind them will also overreact and they will apply their brakes for 4. Go back even further, and it's 8 and it's 16. By the time you go back 5 miles from the guy that actually touched the brakes for literally a split second, the traffic has come to a standstill. I realise that's going off at a tangent, but think about that from the multi-tiered approach that we have in construction. You have a tier 1 contractor who says to the main contractor, we need to make sure that we hit the deadline on this. There's a conversation. We need to hit the deadline. So that person now passes down. You need to hit the headline, and you need to hit it today, which becomes, we needed to have finished this yesterday. We needed to have finished this 2 weeks ago. And you get this kind of trickle down to the point where if you are the ground worker or an individual operator working on a project where you've got maybe a dozen layers above you, what started out as a don't forget we need to hit the deadline is now somebody swearing and cursing in your face, telling you how badly you're doing your job. That's my thought. Now, Jim Turner. Jim Turner, play. There you are. Jim Turner says, carrot and stick. It's all down to man management. We're all different. Some folk will graft for promotion, then take promotion without a wage increase. Others graft in order to get a newer machine. Others for perks in life, like materials or the chance to come in late or slide off early. It's all down to knowing your workforce and judging what makes them tick. I agree 1,000,000% with that. But is modern management actually geared like that now? We talk about this quite a lot on this show, about the fact that, back in the day, when I was spending more time on site, the site supervisor would be in, or the site manager, site supervisor, whoever it was, would be in and out of their little office all day long, checking on this, checking on that. Is he okay? Is he doing what he's supposed to be doing? Why hasn't this been done? Very, very, very hands-on. I get the impression that we now live in a world where it's more hands-off. And that man management, you can only do man management if you know the man or woman that you're attempting to manage. If you're trying to do it based on a tick box in an office, is that even possible? Is that even possible? That would be my question. I've heard this one before, but I do like it. A pat on the back is 2 feet from a kick in the arse. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Mick Norton says, would the carrot and stick approach have bettered the GB Olympic medal haul if a financial reward for results were available? Good old UK, one of only 4 countries in the world who do not offer financial rewards to successful athletes. I didn't know that last bit, but that is an interesting point. The complete aside, and I'll come back to Mick's point there. Did anyone notice? And I do wonder if it is the competitive nature of the nation, or the fact that there's potentially a lot of money tied up in it. I saw lots of athletes encouraging their fellow competitors. Some people would only get the silver or the bronze, but they would put their arm around the person that got the gold, and job well done. Why was it that virtually every single angry outburst was American? Just saying. And I do think I think the finance of it, I think the collegiate system, I think it turns out lots and lots of very, very good athletes, but I think it also makes them unbelievably and unpleasantly competitive. I'm all for trying to win, but trying to win at the cost of others, not so keen on that. Would the carrot and stick approach have bettered the GB Olympic Hall? I would imagine, bearing in mind these are professional or semi-professional athletes, by and large, I think the motivation for them is the competing and the potential of winning. I'm obviously very impressed by the British cyclists. Once again, did a fantastic job. You think back to when they were doing, what was the guy's name? Dave Brailsford came in and redesigned the bikes, sorted out the nutrition and everything else. I think the opportunity to be part of that team is a motivation. I think the possibility of winning a gold medal, a motivation. The possibility of competing for your country, a motivation. There's lots and lots of motivation. I don't for one moment think that Dave Brailsford was stood by the side of the track with a big stick whacking slow riders as they went past. He may have been. I don't know Dave Brailsford at all. That may have really been his thing. And did you know the Olympic gold medals are in fact 96% silver with a gold plating? I didn't know that. And was it right that they had like a central core that was a bit of Eiffel Tower? Did I hear that somewhere, or did I imagine that? I may have imagined it, but I think I heard that somewhere. So yes, going back to the basic point of my article, or my spiel there, we've got an industry which is now very aware of the fact that it has mental health issues. And I'm going to go back to a point that somebody made just a moment about, it was Jim Turner, made the point about man management. If the man management were good enough to apply the right amount of carrot or stick to each individual member of the team, would they not be better equipped to spot issues such as mental health, drug abuse, alcohol abuse and that kind of thing? Or we've got so many tick boxes in this industry that our site supervisors, site managers are literally living in a cabin on a computer, firing back information to the head office to prove that they've done the thing that they were supposed to be doing. We have all this talk about mental health awareness around Mental Health Awareness Week and various other bits and pieces, suicide awareness. For one thing, is the stick actually the best way to handle people that are potentially vulnerable when it comes to mental health? And if you are, as I say, if you're aware enough of the makeup of your workforce to be able to individually manage them, this one works well under encouragement. This one needs a bit of geeing up, bit of a chase every time, and this one needs an arm around their shoulders. If you were really doing that properly, would we have close on 700 suicides within the industry each year? I've only just thought of that. That's completely off the top of my head, and it's a rhetorical question because I don't actually know the answer to it. But I do wonder. And going back to the man management thing, default to West Ham and football. West Ham bought the then disgraced Italian player Paolo Di Canio, a troubled genius, I think you would probably describe him as, and apparently. The only reason that we bought him was that our manager at the time, Harry Redknapp, was basically going to allow him to be mercurial, to be slightly mad, rather than trying to bring him into line and make him toe the company line or the team line. It was just a case of you 10, you play in this position, you play in that position, goalkeeper, you do this, you do that. Paolo, do your thing. And for 3 or 4 seasons, our best player. Many opinions, one of our best players ever. Just because Harry Redknapp had the ability to say, just go do your thing. Jim Turner says, that's why I prefer to work for firms that are small enough that they can talk face-to-face with a person whose money is used to pay me. Any problems, I can go straight to the top. We have a frank discussion about why I'm not happy or where I think they're getting things wrong. Which are two fellas that each other need to make money. If the problems get sorted, or I go somewhere, I go and make someone else money instead. I've always been the same. No one owns me. I've been here for over 10 years, so they must be, I'm going to say happy, because I don't know where that goes. It cuts off at the end there. And again, I just going back to the whole carrot and stick. We're in an impersonal society now, aren't we? I apologize. I'm going to go off on another tangent right now. Many moons ago, I made the decision to stop staying in hotels wherever possible, at least chain hotels. And I went through a period of preferring to stay in not Airbnbs, but B&Bs, bed and breakfast. For one thing, they were cheaper, which is, it's coming straight off my bottom line. So that was part of it. But the other thing was, rather than being, when you're staying in a big hotel and you walk down for breakfast, and there's somebody stood there with a clipboard, room number 417, take a table, food's over there. Compare and contrast that with you walk down the stairs in an actual bed and breakfast and you're greeted with, morning, Mark, cup of tea. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal to me. I would rather have, much the same as Jim has just described there, I would rather have that relationship. And I wonder if the growth of the mega contractor, I wonder if the rise of bureaucracy that requires senior people at site level to spend 99.9% of their time filling in forms, ticking boxes, basically sat there on a laptop rather than interacting with the people that they're working with and who are working for them. I wonder if that has created some of the issues that we're seeing. And extrapolate that out. If they're not working close enough to manage individuals, encouraging one, stick with one, carrot with another. If they're not working closely enough with them to spot drug and alcohol abuse, mental health instability, are they working closely enough on site with the individuals and with the systems that are in place to spot health and safety issues? Are there health and safety issues that are going unnoticed because we've now bred a generation of site supervisors who basically are keyboard warriors? They're not out and about. They're not pointing out mistakes. Cover that up, fill that in, close that off, make sure that doesn't happen. Do they do that anymore? Mick Norton says, I once heard the great entrepreneur Roger Bullivant respond to a complaint that the salaries his piling rig operators were excessively paid. He replied, I don't care if they take their salaries home in a wheelbarrow, so long as they get my piles into the deck safely. It's one of those weird things about this industry, bearing in mind that, we have, particularly I think in the plant operator side of things, we do have people that will literally jump ship for another $5 a week. Not everybody, but, a lot of people would do that. So pay them properly in the first place. If you find yourself a decent operator or a decent team of operators, pay them properly, pay them over the odds. Show value. And I don't just mean going over and patting them on the back saying, job well done, fellas. I mean, actually making sure that they know that they're valued. And, ultimately, if a competitor comes along and tries to lure them away, they're going to have to part with a lot of cash, aren't they? Why would you not? Why would you try to undercut? Makes no sense to me. Anyway, people, that's an hour of your day gone. I am sweating like a dead donkey right now, so I'm going to call it a day. I'll be back here tomorrow for more of the same. Lord alone knows what I'll be ranting about tomorrow. I generally find something. You might remember that this part of the show, I did actually say I wouldn't be doing it every day. Done it every day since I said that because I'm an idiot. I line myself up for these things and then I'm laying there awake at night thinking, what can I talk about tomorrow? Thankfully, so far, my brain has always come up with something. There will come a time, I'm sure. Just complain about the weather. Tell you all about my diabetes, how my diet's going. God, that would be dull. Right, people, go and have a good day, would you? I enjoyed your company as always. I'll be back again tomorrow. More Mystery Machine and another round of the Excavator World Cup. Who did I say was up next? I did mention it. XCMG are taking on somebody. XCMG are taking on HIMAC. I've got a bad feeling for XCMG on that one. I think the sentimentality of the audience may just win the day on that. So we shall see. Everybody, have a good day. See you tomorrow.